Hi and good morning. Today we're going to read Ecclesiastes, and I'm going to read 2 chapters. I think that'll be good for today. So, Lord, thank you for bringing us here today. I ask that you open up my mind and my heart so that I'm not closed off to your word, your lesson. May I be able to receive it so I may share it with others later. I ask that you bless the listener and those around them, and I thank you for your presence. Amen. Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes studies the meaning of life. The teacher looks at wisdom, pleasure, work, power, riches, religion, and other things. All of these have some value and are useful in the proper time and place. But they have lasting value only if God is at the corner of a person's life. Reverence and respect for God and a real devotion in serving God are the most important to make life meaningful. Without God, the teacher says, everything is meaningless. Everything is meaningless, chapter 1. The words of the teacher, son of David, king of Jerusalem. Meaningless, meaningless, says the teacher, utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. What do people gain from all their labors at which they toil under the sun? Generations come and generations go, but the earth remains forever. The sun rises and the sun sets and hurries back to where it rises. The wind blows to the south and turns to the north. Round and round it goes, ever returning on its course. All streams flow into the sea, yet the sea is never full. To the place the streams come from, there they return again. All things are wearisome, more than one can say. The eye never has enough of seeing, nor the ear its fill of hearing. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. Is there anything of which one can say, look, this is something new? It was here already long ago. It was here before our time. No one remembers the former generations, and even those yet to come will not be remembered by those who follow them. Wisdom is meaningless. Verse 12. I, the teacher, was king over Israel and Jerusalem. I applied my mind to study and to explore by wisdom all that is under the heavens. What a heavy burden God has laid on mankind. I have seen all the things that are done under the sun. All of them are meaningless, a chasing after the wind. What is crooked cannot be straightened. What is lacking cannot be counted. I said to myself, look, I have increased in wisdom more than anyone who has ruled over Jerusalem before me. I have experienced much of wisdom and knowledge. Then I applied myself to the understanding of wisdom and also of madness and folly. But I learned that this too is a chasing after the wind. For with much wisdom comes much sorrow, and more knowledge, the more grief. Chapter 2. Pleasures are meaningless. I hope you guys had your coffee or whatever it is you drink in the morning, your tea. Because I'm not used to getting up and I'm working on this discipline, so thanks for joining. Okay. Pleasures are meaningless, chapter 2. I said to myself, come now, I will test you with pleasure to find out what is good. But that also proved to be meaningless. Laughter, I said, is madness, and what does pleasure accomplish? I tried cheering myself with wine and embracing folly, my mind still guiding me with wisdom. I wanted to see what was good for people to do under the heavens during the few days of their lives. I undertook great projects. I built houses for myself and planted vineyards. I made gardens and parks and planted all kinds of fruit trees in them. I made reservoirs to water groves of flourishing trees. I bought male and female slaves and had other slaves who were born in my house. I also owned more herds and flocks than anyone in Jerusalem before me. I amassed silver and gold for myself and the treasure of kings and provinces. I acquired male and female singers and a harem as well, the delights of a man's heart. I became greater by far than anyone in Jerusalem before me. In all this my wisdom stayed with me. I denied myself nothing my eyes desired. I refused my heart no pleasure. My heart took delight in all my labor, and this was the reward for all my toil. Yet when I surveyed all that my hands had done, and what I had toiled to achieve, everything was meaningless and chasing after the wind. Nothing was gained under the sun. And I've been there, looking for everything to make you happy. Wisdom and folly are meaningless. Then I turned my thoughts to consider wisdom, and also madness and folly. What more can the king's successor do than what has already been done? I saw the wisdom is better than folly, just as light is better than darkness. The wise have eyes in their heads, while the fool walks in the darkness. But I came to realize that the same fate overtakes them both. Then I said to myself, the fate of the fool will overtake me also. What then do I gain by being wise? I said to myself, this too is meaningless, for the wise, like the fool, will not be long remembered. The days have already come when both have been forgotten. Like the fool, the wise too must die. Verse 17, toil is meaningless. So I hated life because the work that is done under the sun was grievous to me. All of it is meaningless, a chasing after the wind. I hated all the things I had toiled for under the sun, because I must leave them to the one who comes after me. And who knows whether that person will be wise or foolish, yet they will have control over all the fruit of my toil, into which I have poured my effort and skill under the sun. This too is meaningless. So my heart began to despair over all my toilsome labor under the sun. For a person may labor with wisdom, knowledge, and skill, and then they must leave all they own to another who has not toiled for it. This too is meaningless and a great misfortune. What do people get for all the toil and anxious striving with which they labor under the sun? All their days their work is grief and pain. Even at night their minds do not rest. This too is meaningless. A person can do nothing better than to eat and drink and find satisfaction in their own toil. This too I see is from the hand of God. For without him, who can eat or find enjoyment? To the person who pleases him, God gives wisdom, knowledge, and happiness. But the sinner he gives to task of gathering and storing up wealth, to hand it over to the one who pleases God. This too is meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Let me read that last part real quick. But to the sinner he gives the task of gathering and storing up wealth, to hand it over to the one who pleases God. Well, that was Ecclesiastes 1 and 2. I pray that we find joy where we're at in a relationship with God, because it's saying no matter what we do, if we don't find joy in him, our work isn't going to do it, our labor isn't going to do it, it'll be in vain, and we're going to leave it anyway. So find joy, inner peace, love yourself. That's what I got from it. I pray God blesses you. Take care. Bye.